So let's bring this meeting to order. It's the Newburyport Conservation Commission hearing or meeting on the Zoom platform. This meeting is being recorded. First item is approval of the meeting minutes from March 16th, 2021. Does anybody have any comments or changes or whatever?
The version I looked at seemed to have some repetition in it. I don't know if there was a later version. I was viewing it on my phone, so I read it on my phone. So it looked like there were two section 7s.
Oh,
I didn't notice that.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's just funny the way it came through. So if you didn't see it, then it's fine.
Well, let's look. Wait, we have it right here.
No, it's fine. It
okay.
just
Okay,
must have
and
pulled
that's it.
through on my phone in a different way for some reason.
Well, this look like there's two 7s.
It does look like?
Does
Yeah, there's
5, 6 public hearings. And then this
Oh.
is 7 Mulligan Way.
yeah,
And then 7 is
7.
section 7, order conditions,
Yeah, that's
enforcement,
fine.
maybe 9 others.
There's so many 7s.
Lucky.
Julia,
Alright.
go back up again real quick.
Yep.
Go down to where it says right there at the bottom. There's a motion and a 7-1 vote. Then there's another motion with a 7-0 vote.
Oh, let's see.
All right.
Marshall, second motion. Close the public hearings.
Oh,
There's-
okay.
There should be a space in between there.
Okay,
Okay,
Because one was the public hearing and the second was the public hearings.
right.
It
One was
two
that
separate things.
particular public hearing and the other was all of them together.
okay. So we need a
That-
space,
yeah.
space there. Even more 7 votes or 7 numbers. Anyways, is that all we have? Oh, there's Paul.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
All right, roll call. Paul Healy,
yeah.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
Carol Wagon, Carol Wagon, sorry.
That's okay. Yes.
When I say it.
Yes, anyway.
All right. So next item, do we have any Plum Island updates?
Well, just a few maybe small ones for those people who weren't at the MRBA meeting last Friday. They were intending to have a presentation of the DCR sediment management study, which was postponed until this Friday. So they've rescheduled that. There will be another MRBA meeting this Friday at 10 a.m. And the DCR will give a presentation at that time of this regional sediment management or sediment transport study. The only other information that really came out of that meeting was that they're still aiming to dredge, Army Corps is still aiming to dredge the Merrimack River sometime before spring and put sand on the beach in Newburyport, put sand along the North Point Dune system at Reservation Terrace by spring of 2020. So within the year.
Wait a minute.
Or 2022?
I'm sorry, 2022. 2020. No, that doesn't make any sense. It's 2022. And that the core bag project that we discussed at the last meeting that was presented by the city and Anders from GZA, they're still working on that, but they have to go through the MIPA process, which is a lengthier permitting process. And they're very focused on that, which delayed them in getting the notice of intent in. It also means that the deadline for getting this whole thing done got shifted back a little bit too. So there wasn't the same kind of urgency to get the notice of intent filed before this meeting. So that's why it's pushed back. We should be getting a notice of intent for that project within the next month or two. And hopefully they'll get the work done, this as soon as possible after that, as soon as it makes sense. And that's it for Plum Island updates.
Yeah,
Can I
the
ask
only other thing on the reservation terrace is it sounds like they're going with larger bags, 4 foot by 4 foot by 40. And Joe, your comment about the posts tearing the bags, I think they're wrapping the posts in a fabric, if I have that right.
Okay, I guess it would still have sharp edges under the fabric. That's it.
Well-
My only concern was that they, if they could take off the edges, route the edges or something, and see if, try and prevent the bags from tearing that way. It would be great if they used like cylindrical posts instead of square ones, but just as to minimize that possibility, but they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Well, they'll also.
Can I ask you,
become-
I'm sorry, go ahead, David.
Go ahead, Carol.
No, I just wanted to ask Julia a question from that meeting on Friday. You mentioned that there may be some people who will be opting to get a buyout and move. I was just very curious as to about how many people are looking at that and where does the money come from to buy them out?
Good questions. Originally, or I shouldn't say originally, but several months ago, 6 or so property owners indicated to the mayor's office that they were interested in it's a buyout program that is operated by FEMA. So the federal government would be the ones providing the money to buy these houses, buy these people's homes at fair market value. But the grant process, so what we would do is we would apply for a grant through MEMA, the state version of FEMA, which then goes to FEMA. FEMA decides whether or not to fund it. And if they do, they provide the money to the state. The state provides the money to purchase these properties, which then become property of the city of Newburyport. So we would end up owning the land once those properties are bought out. But then it's conservation land. It's not like we could ever do anything with it. Would we ever want to? But that's sort of how the process goes. But the grant program is very complicated. These properties have to meet some criteria in order to be eligible to be bought out. And that criteria is a complicated mix of factors. It actually goes through a software program that MEMA has to determine whether or not they're eligible or not eligible. So it started out with six properties. We're down to about 4 who have expressed actual serious interest in being included in the application. So we are going to move forward with the application process, which would end up being submitted around December 2021. And we'd probably find out about funding, 8 to 10 months later, and potentially get funding for the buyouts December 2022. So it takes a while, but that's how the process goes.
And that's 4 homes out of how many altogether are in Reservation Terrace? I'm not clear on that.
Well, that's a good question. I think in that immediate neighborhood that has been sort of subject to the highest level of threat from that dune erosion, there's maybe 18 or so homes, but don't quote me on that. That's just that small neighborhood there within those few blocks. But anyone on the island who has suffered repetitive losses from flooding or storm damage could ask to get involved. It's not strictly just for the Reservation Terrace residents.
Okay, thank you.
Julia, whatever happened to the captain's ladies fishing parties? They were going to set up a dredge there and be a source of sand that we could use. And
yeah, the Charos family owns the Captain Lady. I was just out there meeting with them actually last week. I'm talking with Chris Charos about it and looking at their situation. They still would love to dredge underneath their docks. The sand piles up constantly. It's piled up on their beach. It's just that's a accretion zone for sand coming from several different places, I think. And they had gone through that permitting process with us to do a 10-year dredge program, right. But then the permitting fell through at the Army Corps level. and never got picked up again. And it's sort of a sore spot, I think, amongst the parties involved. But regardless, I think if it was possible to get that going again, they might want to do it. But it's time and resources and things like that. So
Tom Hughes has his hand up. If you want to, maybe you can give us some more clarity on that.
sure. Hi, Tom.
Hey. Yeah, so the last thing with permitting at Charos, all the permits were obtained except state consistency in the Army Corps. And the Army Corps, it seems like every time we get in front of them, they want the bathymetry done again, which we've done, I think, 3 times for them. And they wanted new sediment samples right when COVID hit. So we went out and we got the sediment samples and the labs were closed. And I've got those sediment samples in my office. I'm now back in my office and the labs are open, so I'm sending them out. So it's not totally dead,
Okay.
but the Corps just seems to not really want to permit this. They'd rather just keep hitting us for more information, which is a little bit silly. Anybody who knows that site, knows the area, knows that the grain size won't have changed.
And they had no problem with it when it was done as an emergency project, and the project went really well.
Right.
So it's surprising that they would want to hold it up for any reason.
Well, it's not that they want to, but it just seems like they're just sort of kicking the can on it, is the way it feels. And but regardless, I'm hopeful that we will actually resolve this with the Army Corps shortly. I expect to get the samples mailed out by the end of this week, and then we'll be resuming things with the Corps, and hopefully it will move forward. And then, of course, the problem will be if we get the approval this year, it'll probably happen when they're already out using the boats and they won't have the need to dredge, and we may face some time of year restrictions. So it may be a next year thing, but I think the volume we're talking about from Charos, while it would help in the reservation terrace efforts right now, I don't think it is sort of a drop in the bucket compared to the need.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't fix it, certainly, but it would provide an annual or regular source of sand for replenishment and nourishment projects on the island, which would be fantastic.
Right, exactly. And once Reservation Terrace gets all that Army Corps sand from the larger dredges, it may not be the spot where the sand goes.
Yeah.
There'll be access points and all that. It's dedicated to priority use: first, Plum Island, Newburyport; second, Plum Island, Newbury; and third, Salisbury Beach, or the priorities that were placed.
I'm really surprised they'd let you take it anywhere off island.
Well, I
That's
think
shocking to me.
right. It's highly unlikely it would ever end up at Salisbury Beach, but it has to be used for nourishment.
Yeah, but we would
has to be a
stockpile it
public
before it would go to Salisbury Beach, I'm guessing.
Absolutely right. No, so I don't think it's ever going to leave the town of Newburyport, or
No.
city of Newburyport. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
but if it does, it would end up in Newbury.
Well, it's
But I
great
have
to
not
know that.
talked to I haven't talked to the Charles's, mainly due to just staying away from people during COVID.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that. That's great to know.
Yeah, so they may feel that things aren't going anywhere, and they haven't been going anywhere, but I haven't stopped working on it. This is kind of a mission for me to get this approved.
Okay, very good.
So if the Corps were actually to fix the jetty and put a weir in there, would that resolve the problem for the Charoses, that the sand wouldn't be deposited there?
Not 100% sure. However, it appears that the big erosion points have coincided with buildup on the beach just east of the Charos dock there.
Yeah,
And it wouldn't surprise me if that's where some of the sand is coming from, but I'm not sure it's all coming from there. Some may be coming out of the basin. And hopefully fixing the jetty by putting a weir in there actually fixes everything and doesn't create another problem, because it has to be so carefully done. You have to reach the right level of equilibrium, or else you end up causing an erosion spot somewhere else. So
yeah, we'll have Dr. Hamani back in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, literally that's why that area was eroding, right? Too much sand was going through to Reservation Terrace, and then they fixed the jetty, and
Yep.
you know.
Right. So just enough for waves to overtop during big storms to break up the other waves.
Yeah,
But we digress.
right.
All right. Thanks,
Quick
Tom.
question,
Yeah,
Julia.
thank you.
All right, never mind. David?
Julia, was there was talk a couple years ago about a special fund from the parking lot out at the end of the island or near Reservation Terrace? Did anything ever come of that?
Yeah, I believe that we do have a fund going. I think it's in the Harbor Master's account. It's supposed to be spent, I think, on Plum Island. We'd have to talk to the mayor to get or this Harbor Master to get
Okay,
clear
cool.
on those details. But I think DCR gave us their parking area essentially to manage, so that we at least now have the whole parking area belongs to the city. And yeah, I can check on see what's in that fund and if there's any intentions for its use.
Just
Maybe
curious.
maybe he could use it to fix the shed.
Right.
All right. In that case, let's move on. Unless we have any other questions.
No.
I hear none. So next item is certificates of compliance, request for determinations, etc. Paul and Shelley Kuchansky, 3H Street, request for minor modification.
Okay. Let me just see if anyone is here. Yes, there's Paul. Paul, I'm going to do something called promoting you to a panelist, which will move you over so that we can see you, and you should be able to unmute yourself and speak to the group.
All right.
Hi,
There you are.
hello.
Hi,
Pleasure to meet everybody.
same here.
So Paul, why don't you just give a brief summary of your request to the commission regarding the things you've outlined in your letter here.
Okay, I'll have Shelley do it.
Hi, hi. So what we'd like to do is place a hot tub under our back deck. The back deck is to the left of this diagram. You can see it within the footprint of the house. And the hot tub itself is labeled as A, and it's a 7x7 hot tub. And we would manually smooth out that sand and place some crushed stone in like a 7.5, square area, and put the hot tub on that area. There's nothing under the deck as far as plants or vegetation. It's strictly sand. And we are also looking to continue. We have 2 existing driveways with rock, which you could see as item D. They come off of H Street. So that's crushed white rock, for parking. And we're asking to extend white rock from that parking driveway on the left around to the back deck, just to the well, yeah, that part's already there. That's a good point. That part is already there. Yeah, that part's already there. We want to extend it under that area right there. That's a staircase that leads up to the deck. It's under the deck, it leads up to the deck. So we're looking to put an additional path of rock, which is, I think, about
10 feet.
It's like 2 feet wide by 10 feet, 3 feet wide by 10 feet long, so that there's a footpath when you go down the stairs. You can walk to the hot tub area. In addition, we're looking to mark our property to protect the sand and what seagrass and vegetation that was planted by the builder. You can see Item B is the post and rope that we're proposing, and it would go along the entire perimeter of the property from H Street. If you're looking at this document, the far left front corner, so the far left of H Street, you see the posts begin at the bottom left, Yep, so that would be post 1, and that's the beginning of the property, and it would follow H Street, and it would end, there would be those 4 posts, it would end at the driveway, then it would continue again to the road, and then it would continue along Old Point Road. Yep, that would be the first post to the right of those mailboxes. So they're, you know, somewhere we're proposing maybe 10, 12 feet apart. And the purpose of these posts is to keep vehicles, trucks, people like to drive on the sand. I don't understand why, but our builder did plant native beach grass all around the property, around the edges of the property. And it's been planted 3 times now because vehicles drive on it. They just like drive into the lot. They just drive into the sand. So we're hoping by putting this post and rope, you know, it would have somewhat of a beachy kind of look that's consistent with what's going on the island. And it would protect, you know, the sand from eroding and from the beach grass getting run over. And then in addition to that, we are looking to contract a local landscaper. We have several that we're going to speak to, someone that can come in and do some additional native plantings for us that would span the course of, you know, throughout the lot, not just around the perimeter of the post and rope. As you can see, I've done these cloud-like plant squiggly things. Again, kind of as a natural border to replace what may have been removed when the property was built. We're very conscious of wanting to have things that are going to help the vegetation come back, help the sand stay in place, just keep it consistent with what was here before, and even augmenting it and making it better. So you can see what, and again, we would use a local person so that they can instruct us as to what, you know, would be the best things that would be native to the area, things that would provide, you know, proper, you know, drainage and hold the sand in place, you know, because we can see, you know, the landscape is very bare, you know, it's bare in a lot of areas. So we think by putting back some of these species, it would just help, you know, the life itself come back. And then that, I mean, that about wraps it up. Very simple, very clean, you know, looking to experts to help us, you know, with what would be best.
Okay. Julie, we have a native planting list, native plant list on the website, right?
If it's not on the website, I will certainly email it to you. I was thinking the same thing, Shelley and Paul. We have a native plants for coastal planting list, which includes trees, shrubs, grasses, all sorts of different types of plants that would do well on Plum Island. So I can send you that. You could give it to your landscaper.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks.
So is your post and rope fence along H Street, is that along the property line or the edge of pavement?
Property line.
Okay. So
Yeah,
this,
so we would pull it in, you know, I don't know exactly how many feet it would come in, but it's along the property line, not along the road itself. But it's enough so that, you know, we just want it to be a barrier so cars don't drive. Like they literally drive straight in. I don't know if you can go anywhere on H Street with your pointer and just kind of come within those dots. Oh yeah, they just drive right there, just come in even more, like way to where the
Yeah.
clouds are. People just pull in.
Yeah.
The Amazon guy drives down here every day. And we even stuck, you'll laugh, but we did put a bunch of hockey sticks. We pounded in. So we have so many of them in the garage that we brought with us. We did last fall when we moved in a year ago, and in the spring when we moved in, we put them all along the road because new grass had just been planted and we were trying to keep people out, and we even tied orange string to connect all the sticks, and it looked like a real it was quite a sight.
But they even drove over those. So.
So something, but it's going to be clean, and it's going to be,
aesthetically, we're going to make it look really, really good. And I think it'll, increase the aesthetics of the area as well. So that's what we're hoping to do by doing these.
Yeah, they should respect the posts. They should be respecting hockey sticks too, because I wouldn't mess with that many hockey
you
sticks.
think.
What
least
size post are you going to use?
So the posts themselves are going to match the railings, the posts on our deck. They are 4x4 pressure treated 8-foot posts. So
that should do the job.
that
Yeah,
should
that should definitely do it.
and so they're going to go down, they'll go down into the ground. I don't know if they go in maybe 2 feet, 3 feet. But then once the posts are in, we're going to put the white sleeves over the posts so that it matches
The house.
the corners of the decks, the same posts that are on the decks, and we'll put the little caps on the top. So we're hoping people, they may think it's like a PVC post they can drive into, but they'll get a surprise.
They'll get a big surprise.
They really shouldn't be thinking that.
I know.
If they don't respect the posts, they should respect the 6 large hockey players.
Yeah. Well, the idea behind that is that everything's going to be done by hand. We're not going to have any big equipment coming in here. We're not going to have, jackhammers. Like, we're going to do shovel. You just dig the hole with that little, we bought that. Well, the landscaper guy will probably do that, but we do have one.
I would pay him to do that for you.
Yeah, that's a
Probably
digging sand's gonna take some time.
digging-
But this is exactly the kind of landscaping I think the commission likes to see. A post and rope fence, native dune plantings. It should be a really good example for people to see. So I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, you put as many native plants in there as you want to.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me, I was wondering if maybe once you've finished up the plans with the landscaper, that you bring into Julia a copy of the plan.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, so that, later on when you're coming in for certificate of compliance,
Good idea.
everybody knows what's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have one question on the electricity for the hot tub. Is that a short run from the house to the hot tub? Where will you dig your electric line?
It is a very short run. It's only a couple of feet to the house. And the, how these houses are built is the utility room underneath. And the actual electrical box is right in that corner of the utility room. So
Well,
it's only a couple of feet. Run.
So it would be, if you're looking at the square A, it would be to the right of A. Yep, on the
Yeah,
inner wall.
right there.
Yep, but on the inner, so the utility panel's on the inner wall. So it'd be run right to there. And that's very, from scale looking there, was it like maybe 2 feet to
Yeah.
the wall?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have
Okay.
anything else?
That's it.
No, that's it.
Does commission want to vote on the minor modification?
I'll make a motion to approve the minor modification.
Second,
All right, roll call. Paul Healy,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You.
Okay, next item is Sylvester Electric, 1163rd Street, request for determination.
Okay, let me bring this one up. And the attendees here for this one, could you raise your hand if you are here to present this 1163rd Street? And then I will promote you to a panelist. Anybody here representing 1163rd Street? I spoke with the representative from Sylvester Electric today. Okay, Erica, it looks like, okay. I'm gonna promote you to panelist, which will move you over and allow you to talk. I was just saying, I spoke with the applicant's representative from Sylvester Electric today, and he wasn't able to attend the meeting, but yes, okay, and Chris, I will also go to panelist. Wasn't able to attend the meeting, but the homeowners, I believe, are here, so.
Okay. You guys want to unmute yourself too?
Yeah, so if Erica and Chris, if you're here to represent 1163rd Street, you might want to just unmute yourselves and just one or the other of you speak to the commission about the project that you're proposing to do on your property. Let's see. Maybe you can unmute yourself.
You guys gonna be able to unmute yourselves?
Hello.
Question.
Oh, there
There
we
you
go.
go. Okay. We can hear you, Erica.
Okay. So Scott isn't able to attend, correct?
Right, he wasn't able to.
Okay. So we're looking to install a generator at the property. I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer a lot of your questions, but I can try and answer most of them.
Okay.
Okay.
There
So,
was-
I mean,
There
Go
is
ahead.
somebody on the phone. I don't know if
well, I can just give a brief overview. I've spoken with Scott from Sylvester Electric about it, or I guess from the Great Northern Survey. And so you can see in the photo on this page in the upper left corner, the proposed location of the generator. And it would be placed on a concrete pad in that area. And then there would be a utility line, a gas line, I suppose, that would run, or electric also. I guess it's the electric line that would run across the area, which is right now a paved, or it's a pathway consisting of pavers, and up the side of the house. So you can also see that in green down below here. And if anyone would like me to zoom in on that, I can.
Yeah, if you could.
Let me do that.
So Chris is actually on. He just had to dial in, so he's not able to unmute himself, but
Okay,
he
I
can
can
hear
unmute
you.
him.
that is him
Yeah.
on the phone.
Okay.
Anyway, I think I've unmuted him.
Doesn't look like it. Oh, there you go. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Hi,
not
how are
Chris.
you?
Okay, good.
Hi, Chris, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the homeowner would like to install a generator in that location. It's not a very big generator. is not much will be disturbing. Everything will be hand dug excavation as outlined in the plan. Any questions that I need to elaborate on or anything that you'd like to hear? Or?
If you could give us the size of the concrete pad.
Looks like 8 square feet, a preformed 8 square foot base. Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's not much bigger than the generator.
8 square feet.
What's the existing vegetation where the generator's going? Is there anything?
So these are current pictures. If you could, basically, if in the middle of the plan with the house, yep. I don't know if you can zoom in on that top left square anymore, but
Yeah, I will. Okay.
thank you.
Helpful. So it looks like it is a vegetated area adjacent to the pathway. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll the idea is to not touch the vegetation and just get it where he outlined right there to not disturb anything really.
So this thing, I have a generator and I just actually had it serviced today. And I'm just thinking about when it's running, it's not going to vibrate itself off kilter because it's on sand. That concrete pad's gonna keep it stable all the time.
It should. I mean, underneath it, we can put some sort of global fill under there to give it a sturdy base of 6 inches or so, if that's okay.
Yeah, it would be just crushed stone, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can do a crushed stone base.
Yeah, because I would be concerned because the thing's going to be vibrating like crazy.
Is the generator bolted to the concrete pad, or does it just sit on it?
On the concrete, we usually bolt them. If you get the other ones, that the pre-manufactured pads, that they're not bolted, so we would want to bolt it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think mine's bolted. There's a precast. Yeah, I don't think I have any issues with the installation, but I have to say I do have an issue with the solid fence. It's that's not the code, and I don't know what folks want to do about that, but
Well, how long?
I'm sorry. The question was did you say the fence?
yeah, I brought up the fence because on Plum Island you can't have a solid fence like that.
That's something that I can discuss with the owner and bring it to his attention to contact you guys.
Yeah, Erica and Chris are on right now, but that's going to need to be discussed because it's there. But as far as I have no issue with the generator, just so long as it's stable enough so it doesn't fall off and or start sinking, because that would stink.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we would put the right base under, and I think on the plan he outlines it we had the land surveyor that did the original survey of the property, and I think I got to go back and read it again, but I think he proposed a base of something, like you said, crushed stone under there.
Okay.
You know, we've never put one on sand, to be honest, and we're not going to start with this one.
Yeah, I think if you could plant a little bit of beach grass right there in that corner,
Yeah.
Towards the front of the house.
Up
It-
here.
Yeah,
It depends on where the exhaust is, because the exhaust has cleared out all the grass next to my generator, so
No,
it gets
good
hot.
point.
And that was one of the first things I noticed when it was running. It smoked all the grass within a couple of feet. So I'm gonna want to be mindful of that.
yeah, but if
Yep.
you, like that, the electric line runs down parallel to the fence and then takes a right-hand corner to get to the house.
Mhm.
So perhaps if you went, planted grass beyond where it makes that right-hand turn in that corner. Or a shrub, a native shrub would do okay there.
Yeah, it looks like it's a whole fence length. It looks like it's about 8 feet or something in that neighborhood that you
Yeah.
have to work with.
In here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even, yeah. I think the point is to find an 8 square foot area that you could plant with some native vegetation.
Right. Away from the exhaust.
Okay.
How do we want to tie the fence to this? How do you want to work that?
Well, I was wondering, since we might want to have that, the base addressed for this concrete pad within the plan, and the 8 square feet area to be replanted, we could continue it, and they could also address the fence at the same time.
We could do that too.
Yep.
We'd rather not
I guess
have.
We need to find
How
out how
old,
long
how
that
old
fence
is the
has been.
fence? When was the fence installed?
I think we need to find that out.
Yeah,
That's all I'm asking now.
yeah, I don't exactly see, I was looking at the aerial photos and I don't have pictometry. Julie, I don't know if you have access to pictometry from, from the angle. But I couldn't see anything there until at least 2017. It may have been there, but I couldn't see it from the straight over aerials.
Well, can the homeowners respond as to when the fence was placed? When the fence was constructed?
Erica or Chris?
To be honest, I can't speak to the fence. The homeowners hired us a couple of months ago just to look at the generator and
Right.
perform generator installation. Anything else really, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back to them and ask and put them in touch with you folks.
Right, right. Erica and Chris are on here right now, and they're both muted. But if one of them could unmute, we could discuss the fence.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Here's Erica.
Hi. So basically, the fence, we were contracted a couple months ago just to install the generator, and that's
Right.
all I can really speak to today.
Yep, that's fine. We have Erica and Chris on here, and Erica is unmuted. If you want to.
Erica is not the homeowner. Erica is
No.
with Sylvester.
Oh, I didn't realize that. We thought she was a homeowner.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The
Because
homeowner is actually traveling. He couldn't be on.
Okay.
Okay.
Then never
Okay.
mind. We'll.
Okay.
we just wanted to make sure that our the architect, the surveyor that we had was going to be on tonight, so that's why we joined as well.
All right. That answers a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I'll motion to continue. Julia, can you get in touch with the owners and let them know that we're curious about this fence. We need to know what the situation is, when it was installed. Did they get it permitted?
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah, and those are great questions. And actually have not had contact with the property owners themselves. We've just been working through the folks at Sylvester. So if you all would convey that to them and
So Julia, would it be all right if I emailed you the contact
Yeah.
info to the
Yes.
owner, so you guys address that separate?
that'd be perfect. Yep.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dan, was that a motion to continue?
Yes, it was.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, Paul Healy,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, thank you, guys. Sorry for the confusion.
All right,
Okay,
thank
so
you.
this will be continued to the next meeting, which is April 16th. So we'll have to
Okay.
try to get some sort of answer to the question about the fence. And then the commission can vote on the generator.
That would be
What is that?
April 20th, April
April,
20th.
I'm sorry, April 20th. It sounds as though the questions are not with regard to the generator. So that should go well, as long as the question about the fence can be answered, correct?
Yeah.
Otherwise, excuse me, I think we wanted the plan updated to discuss the footing for the concrete pad.
Yeah, and the planting area.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
So if I show on the plan, I'm going to show basically a pad detail, and I'll show 8 square feet of vegetation away from the exhaust.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
Very good.
thank you.
All right,
Thank
folks.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is Lisa Mead, 3 to 7 Colby Farm Lane, request for minor modification.
Okay, yes, now we have, okay, Lisa, promoting new panelist. All right.
Okay.
All right, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hi, I have to say, I like the way you are operating these meetings. It's nice to actually see faces, so thank you very much. So Lisa Mead, Telemacosta 30 Green Street, on behalf of the Reserve at Bashaw Farm LLC. And we're here this evening to ask for 2 things. 1, to approve the signage that we plan to place both at the entrance of the pathway, and 2, to approve the signage to demarcate the conservation area or open space area on the split rail fence. And then the second request is to relocate the trail that was previously approved. So Julia, I don't know which you have first you want to put up there.
I have the trail first, if you don't mind.
All right, so in this sketch plan, you'll see the approved trail, or the existing trail, it's called, it's not actually built yet, but it's the existing trail, which is outlined in white with black outline there. And the proposed trail is in green, and that runs parallel with the erosion control line. And it does 2 things. 1, you see it pushes the trail a little bit further away from that house there on lot 13. But 2, it also brings the trail in from being beyond the erosion control line, and which would be further away from the wetlands areas. So our request is to modify that. And I did provide Julia with a contours plan.
Yes, you did. There we go.
There we go. So you can see the wetlands line over here on the left-hand side of the plan.
Right here.
So yep, there we go.
Here's the
so
red
you
is
can
the
see
25 foot.
Right. And you can see where the trail currently kind of pops out into that area. And essentially what we want to do is bring it back in and make it more without the big loop, it's not big loop, obviously, but to follow the erosion control line, which would pull it in a little bit from that area. So that is our first request. We're about ready to do this work in the next month or so, if not sooner. And that's why we're here. So we'd like to know if it's okay with the board that we modify the original proposed trail location as proposed.
Yeah, so it's
Do you
fine
want-
with me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Lisa, I just have a quick question though, because I have a question about where the pathway meets the road up here at Colby Farm Lane. Right here,
Right.
it's shown right, very much adjacent to the property line for lot 15, with
Right.
the wetland being right here. But then on this one, it shows you've pushed it out quite a bit, which seems to me like it would be right up against the wetland at that point.
Well, so
It's
that,
hard to know where the contours are.
but you can't, so I think the sketch plan is a little misleading, because if you go back on the contour plan, you'll see the line of erosion control, which I believe are the X's.
Yeah,
So
but that's right up against the wetland. What?
yeah, I agree with you on that for sure, but it doesn't, I think the other one makes it look a little bit further. So we'd be,
Yeah.
you know, we would follow inside of that erosion control line. You know, maybe we split the difference. So it's a little bit away from the
Just
property
at
line.
that end. Yeah, I would say just where it meets the road there, and then follow the erosion control like you've designed it for going further out. But just right here, you might want to, because it's where it meets the road, you can sort of
Yeah.
imagine that there's going to be a more of an impact area right here.
Right. So maybe, you know, I don't have a scale on this, Julia. I wonder if the board approves the movement of it, but then you meet the contractor out there, and you can actually, you guys can draw a stake into the ground so you can show exactly where it is as compared to the erosion control. Would that work? I think that might be the most efficient.
Yeah.
So I can
Yeah,
have.
if they were to stake this property line right here,
Yeah.
the wetland line right there, which is essentially the erosion control line.
Right.
Then we could sort of locate the best location for it to be, for the pathway to start. And then from there, follow your plan.
The erosion control line. Okay. So if that's, I think that is how we resolve it, so that we get the location that you want in that entry there. So Mr. Chair, do you want to vote on this, or do you want me to go to the signs?
It's all part of one application, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think we okay going with the signs and voting and everything at once.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the proposed, that was the
cross section of the
right. That's the construction of the path.
Okay.
So the proposed signs are two different signs. One is the Reserve at Bashaw Farm Trail sign, which would go at the entry of the trail off of Colby Farm Lane. And that is proposed there on the left. You can see that. It says trail on it. And the other sign would be located at, what did we say? We said every third section of fence. So this is a split rail fence. So we would have one of these signs located in the middle or on a post, I'm not sure exactly which, but on every third section of fence along the entire boundary line of the conservation land or the open space. And so that's all, that was all approved on your prior plans, and we just wanted to get the signs approved so that we could order them and get them installed.
Okay. They look fine to me.
They look good. Look good to me.
Yes.
Anybody have any issues with the signs?
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve these as minor changes to the plan. But both the signs and the relocation of the path.
Second.
All right, roll call. Paul Healy,
Yeah.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you
Alright.
very much. I appreciate it. And Julia, they'll be in touch with you for the location of the entry.
Okay,
Great.
Lisa, I have a question.
Sure.
I was driving up and down the road there today because the yard waste facility opened and I had a lot of donations. The parking area for the trail, which is right along Colby Farm Road. And I think,
Yes.
is there going to be a curbing that separates that parking from the lawns that are adjacent to it? Or is it just going to be there?
Just the gravel.
Yeah.
I don't, Steve, I don't know the answer to that because I don't have that detail. I'm looking at the, I don't have the detail on this plan. So I don't know the answer to that.
It looked, and driving by today, it looked like it kind of needed something to delineate the edge of the parking with, you know, the residence's grass, but.
Right. Well, we can get back to you on that and we'll get the information to Julia when she goes out there. I just don't know the answer to it and I don't have, it's not on this plan that I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Lisa. All right, can I get a motion to open the public hearings?
So moved.
All in favor? All right,
All right.
Aye.
anybody opposed? Okay. First and only item is Robert Condon, 1176th Street. Notice of intent.
Okay, I just promoted Tom Hughes to a panelist. So I'm assuming he will present this project.
Yep, good evening. Now, Julia, one thing I noticed on the NOI, and I'm wondering if it never came through, where there were two photo sheets, a pre and a post, and they don't seem to be in the NOI that was online.
Oh, interesting. Let me see if I've got it here.
I just emailed it to you in case I've been having a lot of trouble
Okay.
with my email server over the last.
Yeah, I don't see it. You're right, because I do remember seeing those photos in the NOI that I looked at, but
Right, there were bigger files, but I just literally yesterday upgraded my Adobe Acrobat to Pro, and I was able to just reduce them down to 1 megabyte and send them off to you, along with the proof of mailing. Is there any way I can share my screen and just do it off my computer?
I don't know that I can do that.
Well, let me see what happens. I'm going to say share screen, and it says, oh, so you would need to stop sharing, and then I think I can.
Okay.
Okay, so share screen. Yeah. Let's see.
I hope you're not going to Zoom bomb us.
I'm not going to Zoom bomb you, but what I may have to do, hold on a second, I need to actually open the file.
Never done this
So
before.
I need to close it. And all right, give me a second. Okay, so there it is. Share screen, and there it is. Okay, you guys can see that?
Yep.
Okay, here's my proof of mailing, which has been emailed in. So there are 4 pages of scanned proof of mailing. Is the NOI. You guys, I think, know where this is. And one thing I do want to say, so Tom Hughes, Hughes Environmental Consulting, here on behalf of Bobby Condon. I don't know if Bobby's on. He's in an area with fairly remote, not so good Wi-Fi service. So he may be there, he may not. What I'd like to do is present to you guys tonight, and then I think we should do a site visit, and then we could try to wrap things up at the next hearing. Now that we've got all this together, if that makes sense to the commission, but let me go through this material. So this is the property. This is actually the 2020 photo from my map, or no, 2019 photo. So this is before work occurred. We used this photo along with the my map photos, and I'll go through some of the other ones to try to recreate pre-existing conditions. So these are the prior conditions. The front porch was a wooden porch, but it was solid framed down to the ground on both sides, wooden steps going up. This is a view from a little further back. Also at grade, there was like this sort of looks like maybe a Trex board walkway at grade to get up to the front steps. And it goes along, and I can show you that also in some other pictures. This is a view from further back. There was a pre-existing fence before he had replaced it with a non-compliant fence. Not that this is fully compliant, but it's at least 50% open, it looks like, down towards the bottom. The big granite posts were there. This is a street side view from the corner. You can just see in this picture the vegetation between the walkway and the street is pretty clear. This is the backyard. You can see that the doorway had stone wall, solid steps, a solid patio area. The deck in the backyard was solid sided with stairs right here. The driveway still was and still is cobbled with gravel behind it. And again, showing ground detail here, you can see that walkway that's at grade and then the vegetation in front of it.
Is that, is that beach grass that's growing in there, or is it some other?
It looks like some beach grass with other things. It looks like there's sort of some landscaping evergreens in there. They may be native, they may not, that were in there. But it looks like there is definitely some dune grass that was growing there from some of the photos. This was just, I was trying to give you guys the best of the photos, but I actually, at the end of this presentation file, I have a dump of all the photos that were in the file, and I can just go right through them pretty quickly, and we can stop on any that look interesting. This is the post photos. So first, this is the front door. This is a non-compliant entry now with constructed of cinder blocks with like boards on top of the cinder blocks. So part of our NOI is that's going to be replaced with a wooden platform and stairs going up. We don't have the 2-foot clear, but it's an entry and we don't really have much choice, but it will be open underneath. Here's a picture of the current condition. The fence has been removed and they've installed rope for now. And they're still trying to figure out what fence they would like. So what if we haven't decided before your next hearing, what I would like to do is have a condition that any fence would need to be reviewed and approved prior to installation by Julia or by the commission, whichever you guys would prefer. And you can see that there's vegetation here. It's a little bit tan at this point, but there's not as much as there was. Here you can see that vegetation. You can see the cobble driveway really hasn't changed. Gravel behind it, shed behind that. You can see that all the pavers are gone. The elevated deck is gone and there's an at-grade platform here. And again, in the backyard, so there's plantings along the fence that has now been removed, but the plantings are along the perimeter back in here. And you can see the shadow of the sort of existing tree that was in one of the photos I showed you when we came in under the enforcement, and I kind of showed you some of the material we submitted. That tree is still there. You can tell by the shadow right there.
Is that the one, the driveway with cobbles in the back of it? Right there?
Yes, this is a current picture. So
Okay.
yes. Yeah, these are current condition and these are pre-condition.
Mm-hmm.
There were some trees in the front yard too, some pretty significant trees in the front yard.
Yeah, so looking at the front yard, yeah, there were some evergreens in here.
As well as
Evergreen
on the,
and
yeah.
evergreens, yes.
All that stuff is gone now.
Yeah. So there are now some deciduous, but evergreen's gone.
So Tom, has the driveway, the cobbles in the driveway, has that expanded to the right-hand side?
Let's go look. I don't think so.
I can't
I'm
really
looking
tell.
for a good, let's go up to that aerial. No,
Oh, okay.
that's what it was.
I'm curious as to what those deciduous trees are, like what grows in sand out there that's not evergreen.
Well, if they're
That big.
lucky, if they're lucky, and I have not dug down to see whether this was one of those sites that used to have lawn and maybe there's a little bit of organic content. If they're lucky, they chose either, red maple would survive. It might struggle a bit. There's a number of like cherries that do just fine out there, beach plum, and others,
Yeah.
but generally deciduous are not going to do great on Plum Island unless it's one of those sites where the soil has already been altered. So what Everett Chandler did is working with a number of photos. I think we have over 80 photos of, but probably half are pre, and then we've got a bunch of post. We basically worked out the precondition. This is at grade walkway, traced from aerial photographs and also interpreted based on location with the different ground photos and various posts and things like that. This whole area back here was pavers. You've got the deck. So some of the work that was done here wasn't all bad. I mean, it was bad in that it wasn't permitted, but pavers were replaced with gravel. So you certainly have a more compatible material in the back. The tree is located there, tree here. So these are what were visible in what we had. I don't think he got to the point of locating where those evergreens were, but we can certainly count that there, were a few of those that were of decent size. And then we were proposing, we're short based on his calculations. I'm going to zoom in. We basically estimate there was 802 square feet of on-lot vegetation in the compiled site conditions from the photos, and that currently there's 658. So we're proposing enough plantings to bring it up to 918. And we're certainly flexible on what those plantings would be. Given that there's some level of margin of error, I didn't want to just go for 802. I felt it was important to have an increase in that. And then let me get back to page width.
Before you leave that,
Yes.
with the those tables there, I tried to understand it. I couldn't quite understand the altered area.
Right. So the altered area is that's, yeah, I see what you're saying, 2778 to 2112.
And then
the brick pavers
the 2062,
no longer are there.
I don't see the difference in the numbers.
Right. So the difference is Everett's not counting the basically he's more, the altered is not the right word. This is a surveyor using it's really hardscape areas. So there was building all these elements, right, that are all solid, that added up to 2778. When they were done, basically the pea stone number goes up, the gravel pea stone number goes up, and the brick pavers goes away because they took out all those brick pavers in the backyard. So that's how this drops from 2778 to 2112.
Okay, and then the proposed alterations, that's what you're coming in with now? Is that-
Right. So what we're coming in with now is the biggest thing is rebuilding the deck stairs and adding plantings. There is the one thing that we wanted to talk to you about, and I think a site visit would be helpful with this, is me zoom here. Is on the prior backyard had this deck that was elevated and with solid siding on it. And that was replaced with this at-grade thing. Bobby and his wife would like to have a deck back. The problem that I had was I don't see a way of doing the 2-foot clear. Although I thought of something before tonight's meeting, which is there may be enough room. I'll show you some pictures of the back of the house between 2 doors here. There may be enough room to actually step up, come out of the door, maybe have stairs down and step up onto a deck and actually try to increase clearance. The old deck certainly didn't have 2 feet clearance. And then the other question would be, would the commission allow it to be replaced without 2-foot clearance, but with it being wide open underneath? Still get a
But-
foot, which would be an improvement over the pre.
Yeah, but we can't permit that. You know what I
Understood.
mean?
That right. No, understood. So that's why
Oh,
we need to try to figure out what we can do here, and I need to talk more to Bobby and his wife about that. But I don't see how we can get 2 feet here given the door height. So let me cruise through some of these.
Going back to
pre-photos.
that table, Tom, I know it's only
Yeah.
50 square feet, but if you compare what you called hardscape, you said total, and then you go to the 2001 proposed, what's the difference? What generated the difference between 2112 and 2062?
Actually, you're right. I'll have Everett double check the numbers. So the granite stairs go away and the, so 15,669. So all the other, well, oh, I see. Decks and stairs is dropping too.
because of that entry.
Because that
deck.
entry, we're putting in a smaller entry in the front.
Okay, so it's in the stairs that the drop.
It's in the
dead.
stairs. It's in the granite stairs and the
Brick pavers.
and this, yeah, the cinder blocks and the brick pavers.
Okay.
So now back to full page. All right, so here are some of the pictures, some cute kids in some of the pictures, but you can see how it doesn't look like we had 2 feet here. And even if we brought it right up to the threshold, I just don't see how we get a 2-foot separation here. But I'm wondering if we brought it up a little bit here, so we had a landing out the door and then stepped up, that we might be able to figure something out. Again, another picture of that area. Picture of the stairs that were back with the solid stone. This was the front entry. This was at grade walkway. And we can see, so there's one, these look like spruce, which would not be a tree of choice out there, but
Yeah.
Well, that other big tree looks like it's a spruce of some sort too.
yeah. And they will, they will survive in the right conditions, especially if it's a back dune area. I can't see enough. It almost looks like there might be a little bit of loam content in here. It certainly doesn't look like pure sand in the original photos. And this does look like dune grass in and amongst there.
Yeah.
So, Tom, that larger spruce is now replaced by a deciduous tree?
That's what it looks like, yes. Yep.
Okay.
Which we don't know what it is and may or may not ever reach heights.
Yeah, we can, and I'm sure I can get the species, and now that we're getting leaf out, I'll be able to identify it. I didn't spend a great deal of time trying to figure out.
And there were 2 of these large evergreens, right? Over to the left on this picture.
Let's see, there's more pictures.
I believe there were 2
There'll be
big
better
ones.
ones. So more pictures of the front. That's the one in the back that's still there. It's funny, you can tell when somebody doesn't have an iPhone. The pictures end up weird. All right. Looks like somebody's tired of the work going on. Right, okay, so it looks like one big one
Okay.
right
And then
here,
a
and
smaller.
then these sort of Christmas tree size ones.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
And it looks like a couple different varieties of spruce. I can't tell for sure on this one. It's a little bit out of focus. Again, backyard, this tree is still there. You know, there were arborvitaes that were removed. There were plants that were put in their place along the perimeter. Again, the deck.
Mhm.
It's the entry down into the basement.
I'm just seeing a lot of loss of, even though the square footage of vegetation may be able to be compensated for, there's a loss of habitat value given the type of vegetation that's changed.
Yeah, and we're open to, right now, you know, I think I was looking at dune grass plantings plus, you know, talking to the commission about what they want to see, and if we want to put in some beach plum or some bayberry or something, or even cedar that would provide some additional habitat value. But a lot of what it looks like overgrown landscape plants that were taken down, not really sort of native Plum Island stuff. So here's some of the after. Again, you can see, in fact, and speaking of habitat, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a nest on that tree. Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some habitat. I was trying to zoom in to see if it looks like a maple. Yeah, I think that may be a maple, and that too. I can't tell if there's
You
parallel
don't see
branching.
many red maples out on Plum Island.
Yeah, I mean, you see some, but they tend to be in blowout depressions where you've got moisture. So then we've got still some dune grass and some other plantings, but again, we feel based on, you know, a fairly conservative assessment of what was vegetated before, that there's a loss of vegetation at current condition. So here's those front non-compliant stairs. You can see, you know, this certainly is not something you guys would permit, even replacing a solid structure. So, you know, we're going to make that compliant. This is that entry. It got kind of cleaned up a little bit. They did put cobbles around the perimeter of the step down into it. There's pictures of what they did. Cobbles in here. I didn't think this was much of a problem, but if the commission wanted, I suppose we could replace those cobbles with gravel. But I think where you're stepping down into the basement, having stuff that's not going to pour into the basement door is probably a benefit and minor compared to all the pavers that came out. So this is the backyard, the at-grade patio. You can see this fence was removed. You can see the plantings are all along the perimeter. And certainly the gravel / pea stone that's in place is much more compatible with dune function than the pavers that were previously there. Again, backyard, you know, this little enclosure, it is open at the bottom.
What's that, a shower?
I don't think it's a shower. It certainly looks like it intends to be one, but they called it a changing area.
Oh. So that can't be 50% open?
What's that?
That can't be 50% open? I'm kidding.
Not as it, yeah. I mean, it could be 80% open, right? It really just depends on who
Depends
lives.
on who's changing.
Right. But you can see, like, we've got temporary stairs here. So I'm thinking more and more that maybe a deck that is next to the changing area that comes out. The problem is it'll be high enough, people will be able to look over the changing area. But, you know, maybe we can do something with doubled up 6x6 framing so that it can be fairly skinny and get that 2-foot clearance.
Tom, I know you go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead, Julie.
I know you said about the fence that they will like kind of get back to us and send me a plan at some later date. They've had a year, you know, to deal with this, and
Yeah, and
I think they can come up with a fence. They don't have to install it
I'll
right
work
away.
with them. Yeah, they're out of country right now, so but I will work with them. We'll have a fence chosen before you issue a permit.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a one of three to choose
Right.
from, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
That'd be great.
So, Tom, I mean, what they have there for a patio, I mean, do they have to have a deck? Can they have, you know, something on the ground that would meet their need?
I don't think they're satisfied with this thing, this at grade thing that they've got, which I think was just sort of a temporary middle of project when you stop them kind of thing. I don't know. I can work with them more about that, whether, you know, clamshell patio area or something, you know, maybe because that would be a little bit firmer than pea stone.
Yeah.
Might be an acceptable way to deal with it too. So we can work with them on that.
Okay.
So again, sort of more photos. You can tell there's sort of more stockpiled materials ready to go, or leftovers. Unsure. That's the back side of the shed looking out towards 76th Street. So the gate, I think the gate is still there, and we can certainly retrofit the gate as needed. Again, just more pictures. Oh, it looks like those stones were veneering the solid foundation. I don't know if you guys have an issue with that. It doesn't seem like that would be much of an issue.
No.
It actually would rough up any floodwaters that hit it as opposed to concrete. So a picture, you know, solid fence across the street, but not on property anymore.
Oh.
And like I said, we have a plethora of pictures, a lot of repetition here, but
So Tom, it sounds like this, I mean, they've done some things, but they don't really have a plan for what they want to do for the rest of the project. Like, don't know what to do in the backyard, don't know what to do about the fence, still need to pick out some plantings.
yeah, so we have, what we do have, and let me go back to the site plan. What we do have is, of the things that are remaining that are just clear, not permittable, we have a plan for rectifying those things. And that is the planting not being, you know, I think what I have in there is American beach grass, but we're open to discussion with the commission about changing this. We have a plan to get rid of this, and we plan to make up for the deficit in plantings.
Yeah, yeah.
On the deck replacement, it was one of those things where we were trying to figure out what to do back there, and they were hoping to have a deck. But the more I'm looking at it now, I just don't see how we do it with a 2 foot clear. So that would be one thing. What I'd like to do is, if we could continue the hearing, and arrange a site visit between now and then. What probably makes the most sense is to do a site visit maybe sometime next week, and just continue straight to the first meeting in May. And then that gives us enough time to, after the site visit, work out the details of what we do with the deck, and work out the fence details, and come in May 4th with those details worked out. And then we can take a look at plantings, and if the commission wants some cedars, you know, like a couple 8-foot cedars or something in there to replace the loss of the evergreen things, we can do something like that too, and add it on the plan. But the tough part that Everett and I have been struggling with is it's a lot of work to get a surveyor to the point where he's willing to stamp a plan on what pre-existing conditions were. And I think that what we show, and again, let me zoom this back. When you look at the site plan, I mean, we feel pretty good about what's what's shown here is what existed before he started work, with a pretty good degree of certainty, as much as you can without being able to actually go out and survey it, you know, in the field.
Tom, I'll echo Julia's statement, though. There's not really much of a plan. You know, trying to recreate the pre-existing conditions is all well and good, but what we need to know is where we're headed.
Right. So where we're headed is that being replaced, a compatible fence, which will get you before the next hearing, going in. And then
And what's happening with the on-grade deck?
Yeah, that's the one thing that you know, originally I was looking at it like, well, they replaced a bunch of pavers. I know on-grade decks are not something in Newburyport that you guys like. I know, like, if I'm in a dune in Rockport, they want them, but it's all different. But it's something that I'd been talking to Bobby about, and he didn't seem, he just was, well, whatever the Conservation Commission wants on that, I'll do. And then when I talked to him tonight and they're out of country, his wife was in the background and saying, no, I want a deck. So
Yeah, well, they have to decide what they want, and we're not gonna
no,
design it.
so we will, I understand that, and we will get that updated before the next hearing.
Yeah, that on-grade deck's gotta go.
Right. So we will come up with a solution, whether it's an on-grade patio.
Uh-oh.
Just to
I think
make
you
it.
froze.
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to a site visit, but I'm not sure that it's going to be all that enlightening. We don't have a plan in front of us right now.
I agree with you, Dan, because we've seen all the photos. We can go out and we know what the site conditions are. They need to put it on a plan, what they want to propose.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Oh,
I
my internet
just
connection
see
just
what's coming at us here, and as opposed to deciding out on the site.
Well, we're not going to decide out there anyway, because it's not an open meeting. So.
Well, that's exactly what I mean.
So,
okay, I'm sorry, I lost you guys for a second. My Wi-Fi froze up.
okay, yeah, you're back now. We're done talking about you.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess what I'd like to do is, can we do a site visit so you guys can look at what's on the ground, and we can then.
What we were talking about was seeing a better understanding of what's proposed, you know, when we go out to the site meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you, can we then do this? We'll get you an updated plan, and can you guys vote to allow Julia to work with you guys to schedule the site visit upon receipt of that plan? Or do you want to have us come back to the next meeting and we'll schedule it then?
So, well, I think the question is, how long will it take you to put the plan on the plan, right? Like, come up with a plan that you can present, and then if that's the next meeting, then we can schedule the site visit after. But it seems like if you feel like you're ready, you'll have that plan prepared in time for the next meeting, that you could do a site visit prior to, where the commission can review it on site.
Right. I think he said he's back on Saturday, not in Massachusetts, but they're back in the country on Saturday. So I think that I can probably coordinate with him on Monday. And then Everett just had knee surgery this morning, so hopefully he's confined to a laptop for a little while and should be able to turn stuff around pretty quickly. So I would think by the end of next week, I would be able to have a plan.
Okay.
And I'll just push them on both the fence design and on the and on that, exactly what we're going to do for deck in the back there.
Yeah, they need to move on it, because
Right.
it's been a long time.
No, understood.
All right.
And as far as plantings go, I mean, anything beyond just plain old beach grass, you know, beach plum, bayberry, cedar, whatever.
Okay, so we'll add some more three-dimensional components into the plantings. I'm going to recommend cedar because that's closest to what came out, and it's something that will do well out there. And maybe bayberry, and if we can fit a beach plum in there too, that's always nice.
Yeah, birds like the cedars, so.
Yeah.
You put a couple good sized ones in there, they'll use them immediately.
Yep.
All right. Are we
So,
all set?
Are we talking about removing the red maples and replacing them with cedar, or adding to?
I would add at this point, those are in there, and let's see if they bud out, and if they die, certainly we'd replace them, but with something more appropriate. And again, that was me zooming in on a photo thinking they look like red maples. I think I'm seeing twining branches, but I got to see what it looks like in person and take a look at the buds.
Steve, were you recommending to cut down trees?
No, I was just wondering what the plan was.
Yeah, I would think so. So within this area, right, we've got the two saplings kind of are here. I would think we could probably get a red cedar somewhere in here and maybe tuck one in along the front somewhere.
Okay. That's fine with me. All right, do we have any more questions or comments? I hear nothing. Anything from the public? Was somebody going to say something?
No, waiting.
Anybody from the public have questions or comments? All right. I don't see any raised hands. So we are
Motion to continue.
To which meeting, next meeting?
Let's do the next meeting, and at that point we can figure out the site visit part, and you'll have a plan in hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Second.
All right, roll call. Paul Healy.
Yes.
Steve Moore.
Yes.
Dan Warshall.
Yes.
David Vine.
Yes.
Ron Nicola.
Yes.
And Carol Wagon.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Get a motion to close the public hearings.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. All right, well, we just have enforcements. I think we've discussed 1176th Street. We have anything else?
Don't have
I
anything
lost
else?
track, Joe. Are we up to full strength on the number of members and so forth?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we're good.
We are good.
I will not be here at the next meeting, so you'll have Andy running the Zoom.
Okay.
You taking another vacation?
Another, yeah. This time we're going to Florida.
Ooh.
Florida.
Of all places, yeah.
Where's
We're
your
sort
map?
of going past Florida. We're going down to Marathon Key. I've never been down to the Keys, so.
Oh, okay. So it's more compact and people closer together.
But I think there are fewer people. We're hoping for fewer people.
There's not many people out on the Keys until you get to the end.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. We're right in the middle, I think, somewhere around there.
Okay. Stay away from the Crocs down there.
You mean the alligators?
Oh no, they have crocodiles in Florida too.
Really?
They do.
Know that. I did my master's project down there in a swamp in Florida with alligators all around and cottonmouths and all that good stuff. So I kind of like it.
Okay.
I'll pass.
Yeah, me too. All
Love
right.
the Keys. Have fun.
Well, Julie, have a good vacation.
Yeah, have a good
Thanks.
time.
See you guys later.
And I will
Motion
take
to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.